So today's video is brought to you by a donation from Ancient Melanin. He wanted to know, where do white people come from? Now, there have been many theories out there, such as the out of Africa theory. Then we have the Nation of Islam's theory that white people and Jews were created by an evil scientist called Yaqub. Even the Nuwabians have a belief that the white race was created as a race of killers to serve blacks as a slave army. Now, I don't subscribe to any of these theories, but one thing is for sure, even so-called white people have admitted they're not human.
Even
they're
white
not
people
human.
admit. Not like mine, it's cool.
Now, before I answer the question, where do white people come from, we first have to look at some very significant differences between Caucasians and Aboriginals, such as so-called African and the so-called Native American. Now, Caucasians have a sulfur-based anatomy. Look at this article. It says, melanated skin is made of selenium enriched. So-called black people consist of selenium. The so-called white people have skins with sulfur. Keep in mind that selenium is a superconductor, while sulfur is a very poor conductor. Now, being that pale skin have a sulfur-based anatomy, while melanated skin have a selenium-based anatomy, do the races smell differently? The answer is yes. This article asks the question, do the races smell differently? Yes, they do. Selenium in it. Here's a YouTuber asking the question, why do white people smell like a wet dog?
Testing? Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3, you stupid camera. Work. Rah 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 rah.
Now let's talk about the Rh negative blood.
Yes, let's.
There is some evidence that suggests the Rh negative blood group may have appeared about 35,000 years ago, and the appearance was regional and seemed to originally be connected with certain groups or tribes of people. Now in this section, I'm going to be speaking about the fact that the majority of Europeans have Rh negative blood, especially your celebrities, your politicians, and oligarchs. This is a very small monkey from India that has managed to get. Then we have blood types. We have type O, type A, type B, and type AB. Now, type O can donate to type O, A, B, as well as AB. But there's only one blood type that can donate to type O, and that's type O. So this is really strange because I've always been told that we're all the same, we're all human, we all have the same common ancestor. Well, how do you explain this? How do you explain the fact that we don't have the same blood type?
I mean, in spirit,
Now,
like we all.
the American Indians are virtually all type O. We're talking about the Bororo Indians from Brazil, the Inca Indians from Peru, the Shampan Indians from India.
But we're not all the same.
Now, people with type O blood need to eat animal proteins, whereas people with other blood types are recommended to be vegetarian.
That used to be.
Now, here are some traits of people that have Rh negative blood. They usually have an extra vertebrae, and they're always victims of alien abduction. And now here we have a list of people with Rh negative blood type. And what do you ever felt that you were weird or different? It may be due to your DNA. 85% of humans have the monkey gene and 15% do not. And maybe have an alien gene instead. Rh negative people are characterized. Now they state that northern Spain and southern France is where you can find some of the highest concentration of the Rh negative factor in the Basque people. Another original group were the Eastern Oriental Jews. In general, about 40 to 45% of Europeans have the Rh negative group. Only about 3% of African descent and about 1% of Asian or Native American descent blood group baby. This hemolytic disease actually the Rh negative blood factor. They continue by saying if the Rh negative factor is a normal presentation of blood, then why is there a problem when a mother of a Rh negative blood group gives birth to a Rh positive blood group baby? This hemolytic negative blood, pretty much going to say the same, positive donors in this regard took on the years. This breaks down to about 45 people every day, 7 days a week. The word dragon, a group who were supposed to protect Christianity. Now, Romania was actually the current day resurrection of ancient Rome, and the dragon of that order carries with it some serious significance. The name Dracul itself stands for dragon, and young Vlad, being eager to honor his successful father, took on the name of Dracula, which stands for son of the dragon. Side note, the word Drake also means dragon, but I digress. Now, during his short reign of just 6 years, he managed to kill 1 in every 8 people of Transylvania for the very slightest infractions, such as a glance or a single word he didn't like, amassing a kill total of more than 100,000 in just 6 years. This breaks down to about 45 people every day, 7 days a week. Handsome fella, look at that smile, look at those dimples, look at those teeth, so symmetrical. And here again we have Vlad the Impaler just having a little lunch, hanging out with a couple of his friends, you know, drinking a little blood with some bread, nothing special. And then here we have the family tree. What do you know? They all have the same common ancestor, Vlad the Impaler. Well, I guess that answers everything, right? That answers why they act the way they act. And then we have this article, Prince Charles claims kinship to Vlad the Impaler, helps to save Transylvania's forests. Oh, wow, he cares about nature. He's a humanitarian. He's a good guy, right? And again, Prince Charles here to Dracula's bloodline. The Romanian Tourist Board is to use links between the British royal family and Count Dracula to lure in UK tourists. It has emerged. She cares about animals. What is that? That's a kangaroo? What is that, a wallaby? Who cares? CBS News reports Vlad the Impaler. How is Prince Charles and Queen Elizabeth related to him? Queen Elizabeth related to Vlad the Impaler. Wow. Let's take a look at this section. Just going to talk about when so-called white people emerged on the face of the earth. So-called white man is not, and I repeat, not native. So basically, these are melanated people, indigenous people who have straight hair. So white folks don't have a monopoly on straight hair because they were never on the face of the earth until recently. They just emerged. Okay, they were injected into civilization, if you will. So you had a people of dark complexion with straight hair that they were the first to spread. And here we have a group of melanated people with Asiatic features who also spread across the face of the earth. Again, these group of people transformed, and I have to emphasize transformed, into what you see as Asian people. I'm not going to get into the process of the transformation. I'm going to leave that for my documentary that will be on Patreon. So again, we have Aboriginals, darker skinned Aboriginals with straight hair and African features, and then we had Asiatic melanated people who spread across the face of the earth, also transformed into what we see as Asian. The general relationship to modern humans, very boned, massively muscled, rather dim-witted brutes called Neanderthals, who apart from upright posture bear no physical relationship to modern humans. Very important. That means there is no legitimate way to connect humanity to Earth's remote past. That means Darwinism does not, cannot, and never will explain how mankind got here. This is a powerful statement most scientists would prefer the general public never hear. Holidays of Mental Genocide, page 28 to 29. Alright, so it says the Scythian disease. It says in the capitalized sketch of the Scythians, who were the progeny of the white Cro-Magnon and the ancestor extinct. This is where the hominids come in. Now we're going to look at the last book that I want to reference. And this is the book, African People and European Holidays of Mental Genocide, page 28 to 29. Alright, so it says the Scythian disease. It says in the capitalized sketch of the Scythians, who were the progeny of the white Cro-Magnon and the ancestors of Hitler's Aryan race, we are presenting a case study of the manifest abysmal gap between the African and the Caucasian who later invaded and inhabited East, West, Central, and Southern Europe, with the hope that you will not accuse us of being racial bigots teaching hatred. We are basing the following remarks on one white man's view of his own ancestry, a Greek geographer and historian of the 5th century BCE named Herodotus. The Scythians were a branch of the Caucasian race from the far northeast of the Asian continent and parts of northern Europe. They referred to themselves as being the youngest of all the nations in the ancient world, having emerged on the scene somewhere between 2000 to 1500 BCE. According to one Scythian tradition, they descended from a cave-dwelling viper woman, a horrid creature with the head and torso of a woman from the waist up and the venom-laden body of a snake from the buttocks down. Hercules. It goes on and on. Let me go to the juicy part here. Eating of rare beef is still a big thing with the descendants here in America today. The rarer, the bloodier it is, the better they like it. The Scythians also abhorred the use of water for bathing. Instead, they basked themselves in the vapors of burning hemp, from which they would derive a narcotic high. They were the most uncivilized nation in the world and sustained themselves. Americans rode into combat wearing black capes and fell upon their victims with vampire-like fury, sucking the blood from the body of the first person they killed in battle. It was also customary to scalp their fallen enemy and drink the blood. Alright, so my personal opinion on where white people came from, based on the information that I have in this video, and information that I didn't even bother to put in the video. They are obviously not humans, and they were not created here, okay? We spoke about Rh negative blood, how everyone is Rh positive, but all of a sudden you have a group of so-called Caucasians that are Rh negative.
No, I'm done with this. It's creepy.